Horus Heresy once again, and this time I would like to get into my top 10 favorite characters from the series. Keep in mind please that this is going to be a completely subjective list with some probably very unusual picks on it, but I think it will be a very good guide and representation of what I personally like into 40k. So without further ado, let's get into it. At number 10, I have the legendary Emperor's Children Marine, Saul Tarvitz. He's one of many very interesting characters, probably one of the best archetypes in the series, the loyalist Marine of a traitor legion. I generally think that the Emperor's Children as a legion have very good characters in them. I'm thinking of Eidolon, I'm thinking of Lucius. I think they are very entertaining to read and very well hateable, especially Lucius. So his dynamic with Tarvitz is fantastic, and the Emperor's Children, the whole vibe of perfection going into excess is very given. It's very self-explanatory. It lends itself to Sanashi corruption very well, and Tarvitz, I think, is a perfect example of how this pursuit of perfection could be actually a loyalistic, how it could be virtuous. And like I said, he's dynamic with Lucius, the absolute bastard that the guy is super fun. And when we finally get to the part when he develops his friendship with Loken, is very rewarding. So for being from one of the more interesting legions under one of the more compelling prime arcs and being an excellent point of view character in those stories, Tarvitz gets to be my number 10. Then we have Longfang from the Space Wolves, whose actual name I'm not going to attempt saying. He is one of my more underrated picks, I believe. I really enjoy his dynamic with Kaspar Hauser and how he is more understanding and more humanized view into the Space Wolves culture and their dynamic with magic. This is going to be full on spoilers to the Burning of Prospero, so please keep that in mind. Maybe skip to the next character if that's something that bothers you. So his death is the standout moment from that arc to me, or at least one of the standout moments, because we finally realize how afraid the Space Wolves really are of the warp and all the psychic magic, and yet how they, the loyal wolves that they are, still stare it down, and even in his, dying place, he still has the remembrancer, even though he is this gruff and old wolf-like space marine. So I think he is very compelling for that reason. Now next up, I have a fan favorite, I think, Khârn the Betrayer. I think the Bird Eaters get a bad rap because of how obvious they are. I mean, come on, Bird Eaters, led by a guy called Engron. Come on now. And the most interesting character from their legion is called Khârn. The avatar of Khorne. How obvious can you get? Is something that you would think, but this guy is super interesting. I love his dynamic with Engron and how he is ultimately the one that convinces the Primarch to be on board with the whole Legion thing and the whole Emperor thing, which seems like a good thing and then just snowballs into the ultimate tragedy, and highlights the Emperor's bad side of how he pretty much discards Angron as just a blunt tool and never even attempts to help his son. And then of course there is the other facet of Khârn, that he's just a gigantic badass, like a truly unhinged berserking slaughter machine, which in a hobby like Warhammer can be fun. And then we have the big boy himself, Magnus the Red, probably the most interesting Primarch. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but he's up there. I love all of his scenes in the Heresy when he almost prevents the entire tragedy from happening. Like at Nicaea, he almost convinces Balkador and the Emperor to be more open about the warp. Again, and then with his ritual, he almost gets through to Horus. He almost stops him. Then again with Lorgar, before he goes into the warp and searches for his wicked truth, Magnus talks to him. Magnus tries to stop him. And of course we know his ultimate sin, where he did nothing wrong when he devastated the Webway and the Golden Throne, with the news that could have saved the Empire had he gone about it a different way. And yet, for all his good deeds, he does it in a fantastically arrogant way, and he leaves nothing but utter destruction in his wake. Very compelling character. And by the way, guys, if you have a desire to see more content like this, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Then we have the Khârn. Anyone who has seen last week's video can know that I regard the Khârn very, very well. I think he's a super underrated Primarch. My two favorite moments with him in the Heresy are when he talks to Mortarion, when Mortarion tries to convince him of joining the traitor side, joining Chaos, and Khârn is like, no, that's complete bullshit. Mortarion, you hated the Psykers, and yet you get yourself. You are completely warp sick now. Look at your allies. Curse. Angron. Good luck. Do not try to drag me to your ruin. I think it's a stone cold scene, and highlights how the Khârn is so much wiser than anyone gives him credit for. And then my other favorite scene, when way before this, when the first news of the Heresy starts to reach the Khârn and he doesn't know what to believe. I mean, Wrath unleashed on Magnus, Horus betraying the Emperor, Dorn leaving the war. It's also confusing. And do you guys know what the Khârn does? He waits. The fastest Primarch, the laughing killer, the White Scar, stops and waits until he has more information. Something that, if let's say Magnus had done, we wouldn't be in this whole mess in the first place. So, for that reason, the Khârn, cool character. Then, another more obscure pick, Serene Valentian. I love this because this is I love the remembrancers, all the civilian cohorts that accompany the legions on their various crusades. She is the companion and actually confessor to the word bearers, and I like her because she is like a sort of a play on the classic remembrancer character who we are going to see more of on my list. She is a deeply flawed character because she has a lot of empathy. She tries to help the word bearers. She gets through to these stoic marines, but she still slides into the heresy with them all the same. And the reason for that is the perhaps calculated coldness of the Ultra Smurfs, the Ultramarines. So he is a twisted she. My original language doesn't have these gender pronouns, so I might be mixing them up. I'm apologizing about that right now because I know that it's a sore topic. Anyway, she is a good reflection on both the word bearers and their conflict with the Ultramarines, and sort of the human epitome of the tragedy of that particular conflict. And her pursuit of the truth, her pursuit of holiness, her pursuit of kindness and empathy, and then her being blind is a very enjoyable trope that I like to see in fantasy, so I like to see it here as well. And then we have, of course, the GOAT, Garviel Loken. I think he is the best representation of the classic Horus Heresy trope of the loyalist in the Traitor Legion. His case is helped by being in the best books, which is the original Horus trilogy, and he is a very likable and very enjoyable point of view from whose experiences we can see the Luna Wolves just slide into ruin. And I love how he continues to rage against the dying of the light, and ultimately how he still fails. He's so enjoyable, in fact, that he gave birth to one of my biggest gripes with the heresy, which is Nathaniel Garrow. Because Nathaniel Garrow is also a very likable character. He could easily be here, so much so in fact that Loken and Garrow are the exact same character. Their personality is the same, their function is the same, their narrative arcs are the same. I think they even fight together. So he was so popular that when he had to be taken out from the narrative for a while, Black Library just inserted him back in. But that sounds like I'm rough with him. I really enjoy the very human aspects of this particular Space Marine. One of my standout things is, I think it's in Horus Rising, but might be in Galaxy in Flames, when him and Trogadon visit the lodge on the Vengeful Spirit, and they attend the meeting and they just leave, and the two Marines just jump up to touch the ceiling of the spaceship. It's such a profoundly human moment. Come on now, who is here who hasn't done something like that after like a gym class or any other activity with their friends? It's so humanizing. It's great. And of course he was there. He was there the day Horus slew the Emperor. Another deep cut character, she is from Konstantin Waldorf's Primarch book, Uvoma Candivier. She, to my mind, represents the crack in the Emperor's facade. She is most notable for interviewing Waldor about the, well, shameful murder of the Thunder Warriors. She is one of the earliest High Lords of Terra, and she's an Arbites, which is one of the more underutilized and underappreciated factions in 40k. And I just love her naivete crumbling throughout the narrative. Like, we have this grand sense that yes, finally the Emperor is here. Yes, he is going to unify humanity. Yes, he is going to usher in an age of enlightenment and reason. And then through her investigations, we get to see that facade just break down and expose it like, oh no, this is absolute totalitarianism. This is the death of pursuits. This is the death of human spirit, and we have built a monument to it. It's great, and I really like her interview scenes with Waldor, especially at the end when she confronts the Captain General, and he's like, well, Waldor, yeah, you've served him well. You are the best tool of the Emperor, but that's all you really are, a tool. There is nothing left of you. I'm paraphrasing these, but these are such profound moments. It's some of Chris Wright's best writing. And we are nearing the top now. Again, from one of the earlier heresy books, which are, in my opinion, are some of the best heresy books. Ignaz Karkasy, the poet, who is here for a similar reason than Khârn the Betrayer was, for witnessing some of the cracks in the facade of the Emperor's lies, and writing about them and eventually succumbing to them. Probably the best scene in the early heresy books is when Horus is injured, and the Mornival, who we have come to love, from whom Loken I have had on this list before, of the humans. And he writes this poem about it, and it's such a profound and beautiful moment that, oh, we have all these remembrancers here to preserve the greatness of the crusade. But the crusade is not great. It's a failure. And you are not allowed to remember it. It's a censorship of art thing. It's very relevant today, and sadly. It's great. And, well guys, can you guess who my favorite is? I would say you have to be pretty well read in 40k to know. But please, put your tips down in the comments. No cheating. Alright, have you written it down? There we go. Euphrati Keeler. Yes. Not a Space Marine. Not a Primarch. Not Malkador, not the Emperor. A remembrancer. The first saint. Allow me to spoil a short story from the 40k universe to highlight why I love Keeler so much. It's from an Eisenhorn short story called The Keeler Image. And it's about a photograph that Keeler had made. And that 10,000 years later, an Inquisitor called Eisenhorn is beholding and wondering. Keeler was the first saint. She believed in the holiness of the Emperor. She believed that he was a god, in an age when the Emperor denied his divinity. Well then, who does that make the heretic? Keeler or the Emperor? The Emperor's wickedness, his false truths, his manipulations are what I find to be the perfect dramatic irony in 40k. And Keeler is the manifestation of this. Was the Emperor truly on the side of reason? Or did he calculate and cultivate his divine status, and all his denying it was just part of the plan? We will never know, but Keeler will always be here in these novels to represent this profound question about the leader of humanity. Alright guys, thank you for listening to my rambling about these characters, and keep in mind these were just my personal favorite picks, but I definitely want to hear about you, because I mean there are 500 named characters, over 500 named characters in these books. I have surely missed some of them that are great, so please go into the comments and put down who your favorites are. I would love to read them. I am very active in the comments. I will be responding, especially in the first couple of days after this video have come out. And finally, I have an affiliate Audible link that I have put into the description. So if any of you would love to read, or should I say listen to audiobooks about 40k and these characters that I have spoken about, please, if you consider subscribing to Audible, please use my affiliated link, which will help me financially with no additional cost to you. So that would be great. And again, please reach out to me, put down your favorite characters. I would love to read them. Alright, see you soon.